Hello once again, folks. If you're joining us tonight, this is Customizing the Clone Wars. I am your host, as always, Peak Obi-Wan, Customizer. Along with me, I have my co-host, and his name is Darth Daddy. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing all right. Tonight is Cargo of Doom, and what's the second episode called? I
Children
wrote it
of the
down.
Force.
Children of the Forest. That's it.
Yes, this is episode 17, folks. You're getting a treat tonight, folks. We normally do our show on Sunday, but I'm going out of town this weekend, so we're going to give you a show on Friday. So here we go. Two episodes. Like Darth Daddy said, we're going to be doing Cargo of Doom and Children of the Force. This is going to wrap up the Cad Bane, essentially the Cad Bane arc that we've been going through with the start of season 2, Rise of the Bounty Hunters. If you haven't seen our show before, what we do is we talk about the Clone Wars and we do customs while we're at it, right?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like there were so many characters that were never produced as action figures over the whole course of the television show, and it was sometimes because they were minor characters and they maybe only appeared in one or two episodes, but it doesn't mean they weren't cool characters that you wouldn't want as toys. And Chad and I have just took it upon ourselves to create some of these characters in plastic form, and we're going to share them with you as we talk about the show. And what we
Right.
do is we just, we get on, we pick, one or two episodes that we're going to talk about, and yeah, then we show you what we've got.
Right, right. It's such a fun thing to explore the Clone Wars again. We just love it. We're super crazy for the Clone Wars, and customizing gives you that freedom to do what you want to do. There's no rules, no boundaries with customizing. That's why we do it. We don't think that any female character should go unmade or any weird super alien freak from the corner of the galaxy, right?
Oh yeah, everybody deserves attention. And yeah, I noticed that we both like to do a lot of the female characters. For some reason,
Absolutely.
Hasbro has vocalized an aversion to them at some point, saying that they feel like they're going to peg warm. I personally think they should have made a really cool 2-pack of Bo-Katan and Satine Kryze, and like did a sister 2-pack, and I bet you would have sold very well.
The sister
Mandalorians
2-pack.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Night Sisters, man. Night Sisters.
Oh,
Oh, Night
how
Sister
could they
2.
not have done Night Sisters? They should have done a Talzin with a few Night Sisters and the battle packs back in the day.
Right.
Oh, that would have
Man,
been amazing.
I'll tell you. The Clone Wars had so many cool characters to make, and that's why we concentrate on it as much as we do. Brian and I, we met in 2010, and we just would talk on the phone every weekend, wouldn't we? Just about what we want to do in the Clone Wars. What's next? What are we going to do? Now we have an opportunity to have everything to ourselves. We have our cake and we eat it too because they're no longer doing the Clone Wars, right? We're saving the Clone Wars every single day, making our customs. Making everybody, making who we wish, right? Right.
Yeah, I mean, like this is nice. The license, Hasbro doesn't have that license anymore. So we don't have to worry about like if we make something, it not being there, it's coming out tomorrow. And we're like, oh my God, I just spent like 20 hours of my life making this action figure, and now it's gonna be in stores everywhere. We don't have to worry
Right.
about that.
Right.
We can go, we can make whatever we want, and there's no fear of loss of time or losing a
Yeah.
week of your life. I mean, most of the times, even if something does come out, generally, like because we put so much time into it, it may look better than what Hasbro put out anyway. Although it's funny, like tonight I'm going to be showing one of my customers from like 2010, and it is one of those figures that I made that Hasbro did come out with later, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, they get around to them every once in a while. Now we have that freedom, what he was just talking about. It's great. Now we know they're not coming out. Oh, man. So we'll get on with it. We will get to it right now. Like I said earlier, we are in season 2. We just did the opener last week, and that was Holocron Heist. That started the whole Cad Bane being commissioned to, for lack of a better word, to do a job for Sidious. He actually is in contact with the Sith Lord. You know, like it's just a common thing. Oh, I was talking to the Sith Lord the other day, but what he did is he pulled off this heist where he got a holocron, and now he had to go and get the second half of it, and he had to go and hunt down this guy Bala Rapal, and he his co-worker or cohort, what was her name? Kato Terracidi, right?
Yeah, she was cool. I mean, that's one of the best action figures Hasbro ever put out in that Clone Wars line.
I still have her sitting up here from last week. She is probably one of my favorite characters of all time, probably in my top 5. I mean, I have a list of favorite characters spanning the entire toy line, if you will. And
I mean, who wouldn't want her abilities? Being able to, like, you know, rush up against somebody and then change into them.
Just the like quality, the quality of the character, though. I mean, that's saying something, isn't it? The quality of the quality of a Hasbro character. You know, she's so beautiful. I'm looking at her right now, and she's so wonderful. You know, she's cool deco and whatnot. But at the end of that episode, she informed the Jedi Council that Bane was going after a guy named Bala Rapal. So in Cargo of Doom, we see kind of a preview where he actually goes to the planet that he was on. Was he on Deveron? I believe he was on Deveron.
That I don't know. I know he was on a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, he was in the Deveron sector, is what Mace Windu said, right? So he goes and hunts him down, and we're just going to jump right into this episode. So here it is. The next episode, you know what? I didn't even get my my usual order. We'll forego the episode guide tonight. You know, we just jump around a little bit. We'll go right into the fortune cookie. You like fortune cookies?
Oh yeah, who doesn't?
All right. Let's check out a fortune cookie. And here we go. Bam. Says overconfidence is the most dangerous form of carelessness. That's interesting. You know, I feel that that's what should be said about the Jedis, right? Not somebody else.
Oh yeah, no, the Jedi definitely were way, like, they lost their way during the Clone Wars. There's no denying that.
Yeah. It's like this whole conflict made them or pushed them towards a different in a different direction to test them in a way that maybe they didn't really see. But do we think this one's geared towards Ahsoka again?
Was she featured really heavily in this one?
Yeah, it was a. We were going in when we first start. It's Anakin and Ahsoka, and they're going after Cad Bane, and we'll just jump right into it. So this is Cad Bane, and they're definitely in it a lot. Their relationship, they have like that Anakin Obi-Wan relationship where she's gonna push into the battle, you know. She rushes in.
Oh yeah, the way Obi-Wan's always, you know, trying to slow Anakin down.
Yeah, he's like, we'll take them together.
Anakin, and she takes off after him. Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have gotten that holocron open if Ahsoka was a little more patient.
Yeah, a little more patient. And then who's saying be patient at the end but Ahsoka, right?
Yeah. Well, she just got schooled, so
right. So what
that lesson was fresh in her mind.
Exactly. What you're seeing here on my screen capture here is Bane actually has the little chip, the little memory chip for the holocron, which he has both parts that he took from Baller Paul. You can't see it in my screen capture, but those two super battle droids in front of Cad Bane are actually dragging Baller Paul still alive, mind you, to his ship, and they're going to borrow a freighter from Newt Gunray. And I think this is the last time we actually see Newt Gunray in the Clone Wars. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the last time we see him. And it once again is in holographic form. So
yeah, I think you're right on that.
Yeah. So once they have him on board, this is one of my customs that I did. This is that awesome white Magna Guard, but wait a second, Peak Obi-Wan, he's not white, he's gray. That's because I custom painted him. If you're seeing that there, can you see that?
Oh yeah, it's showing.
So this is my version of my Magna Guard. I feel like that white one was a little bit too white, and I thought maybe he just needed more of like a metal type of paint job. So all this is really just a repaint. And this guy was absolutely torturing this Rhodian, right? This Bala Rapal guy, right?
Yeah, that was really dark. Like
it was dark.
If anybody was going around saying that this is a kid's show, they had to eat their words in this episode, because they were like violently electrocuting this Jedi, trying to get him to open a holocron so they can copy the data from that memory disk.
Right, and they just kept hitting him, right? They really did.
Yeah. Oh, and then you had the battle droids saying, "Hey, if we keep doing this, we may lose this guy." And Bane's like, "Crank it up."
Yeah, he's like, well, he was running out of time. That was the problem. He was like, crank it up full power. Do you feel, I'm going to jump off topic real fast. Do you feel like Cad Bane, his voice changed periodically? Do you feel like his voice would change episode to episode?
No, I never really noticed that.
I thought in this one in particular, his voice, maybe it was because he had a lot of dialogue or something, but it seemed like he wasn't as auto-tuned.
Yeah, the way that they almost put like a voice effect on his voice generally, where
right, and he was just he goes from like a really like harmonic type of voice to more like a crotchety old man,
Yeah.
And he does that in the beginning, but when he gets really hyped up or really excited, that's when his voice kind of comes down and it's less harmonic. You know what I'm saying? But the image I'm showing right now, back to what we were talking about, is Baller Rapal. I feel like when they first aired this, God, it was so long ago. I feel like it was almost controversial or something like that, and they didn't re-air the episode on the Saturday. You remember how they would show them on Fridays, and then they re-showed them on Saturday?
Yeah.
I feel like
they didn't re-show this one, huh?
They didn't re-show it on Saturday because of this, what happened here,
That device that he's being held in reminds me a lot of Attack of the Clones, when you have Obi-Wan on Geonosis and he's getting that talking to or interrogation, or at least that conversation with Dooku, where Dooku's basically putting it out there like, hey, the Sith are in control of the Senate. And he was basically telling Obi-Wan's thinking this guy is like pulling his leg and trying to manipulate him. Meanwhile, Dooku's being really open. He's like, yeah, he was basically telling him, or about to reveal, that Palpatine, I think, if he had talked to him a little longer and maybe played into what Dooku was saying, he might have found out right then and there that Palpatine was in control of, the Senate.
Right.
And Palpatine was the Sith Lord.
Yeah, he gave him the whole. He just put it all out on the table, didn't he? The Sith Lords tell the truth, and the Jedi lie.
The Jedi.
Right?
Yeah.
That was so strange. It went that route,
Yeah.
We're definitely talking about the prequels, folks. There's a lot of connections to the Clone Wars and the prequels. It was very prequel-esque. Wouldn't you say a little bit more than bridging the gap between what we're seeing now with like Rebels and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, and we know what I'm noticing, just within like this summer, finally people are starting to say it's not cool to hate the prequels anymore. Like the prequels are good films. Like you can't hate on them anymore because, it used to be you're the cool kid if you're bashing the prequels, and now it's you're a cool kid if you love the prequels.
I saw that. I'm very excited about that show. I want to see it.
Yeah, you have that movie coming, and I even saw an article today that I just shared on my Facebook page, saying like basically along the same lines, like, for all you haters, it's time to put your hate to rest because you're in the minority.
Yeah, there was always that buzz, like, well, we liked the prequels, but we really didn't like the prequels. I was completely the opposite of that. I just celebrated what George did.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
And the story.
I think, honestly,
and the story.
When you think about the way a lot of it was pushed by the big media outlets, and I think a lot of it was tied more to George Lucas going against a political agenda that was being pushed through media at the time, and what the White House stance was on global politics. And George Lucas was very critical of things like you're either with us. A lot of the prequel bashing had more to do with stifling counterculture opinions. The political agenda at the time really had anything to do with the quality of the movies at all.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you could talk about Jar Jar Binks, but he was really downplayed when it came to the other two movies, and you could say a little bit about wooden acting, but the acting wasn't great in an original trilogy. Who are we kidding?
Right.
You can talk about things like Jar Jar Binks being like for little kids, just as much you could say the Ewoks for little kids. It was really about stifling a political counter argument.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that, and it's truly what George wanted to do. And I think I was in the camp that regardless of what happened, there were things I would change about the prequels. There's no lying there.
I mean, there's things that change about the original trilogy.
Absolutely.
I mean, when it comes down to it, I hate that Jabba scene in A New Hope.
You're telling me about that.
That's the only thing you'll ever hear me complain about, and it's only because it doesn't look like Jabba to me.
Right. Well, we'll get back to this episode. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point.
We'll get there one day.
With this episode, we have this torture, and it ultimately ends up in his death. He dies from this injury, and he realizes that Anakin and Ahsoka are in progress. They're going to land on his ship, and they're going to board his ship and get him, and he's running out of time. So that's why he carelessly or just doesn't really care about this Jedi. And I have a custom of this guy. I wanted to show this right away, along with my Magna Guard. I just did him just last week. I started working on this guy, and here he is. This is my Baller Paul. What do you think of that? Can you see that there?
Oh yeah, it looks great. And everybody, this is the first time I'm seeing it too. So we're all seeing it together for the first time.
Yeah, this is a first-time reveal. This is an exclusive just for this episode. What head did I use? Do you know what head I used?
Cut out on your audible for it. So just repeat what you said. So
I'm sorry. Did you see the head there? Which head do you think I used for this custom?
I bet you it wasn't even a Rhodian, and you just sculpted on something that wasn't a Rhodian at all.
That's right, man. I just did it from scratch. You know, these Clone Wars characters, they are skinny, but you know, they have like a little bit different physique, and I felt that there wasn't a more of a broad head that I really wanted to have sit with this character since he's so skinny, you know, right?
Yeah.
So what I did, I'll just give you like a little recipe here, folks. You can do this guy a couple different ways. There's the Kit Fisto, there's the Mace Windu, there's the Obi-Wan, there's all kinds of different characters that you can do. And I'm just going to give you kind of a little recipe here, what you're seeing. If you look at the pants and the legs and the boots, those starting from the boots down, those are the Obi-Wan. What is the Obi-Wan from the Mortis arc? You know, he's kind of the season. Is he the season 3 Obi-Wan? Would you say? It was that more skinny Obi-Wan.
The skinny head with the pointy beard, Obi-Wan, that one.
Yeah, and his outfit was real white. And I got a bunch of those. I got a bunch of those overseas. Are what we call fodder, folks. Fodder is essential in your customizing. Wouldn't you say, Brian?
Oh yeah, I mean that's what we use to build our figures. And I actually went through that same seller as you. Was it Viper's Kingdom? Where he sells like 10 for like they were so cheap. What were they, $17 for 10 or something like that?
Yeah, they were so cheap.
Insanely cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just good that you have a bunch of joints, you know?
Yeah, it's back to that idea that it's not unbelievable that you're going to make a 13-point articulation character or something like that. All this hoodwinking they're doing to us, you know, telling us that ball joints are so super expensive that they can't produce them anymore yet.
Meanwhile, every other toy line is producing them no problem at an extremely, you know, cheaper cost than what Star Wars figures are selling for now. So
right, businesses we
know we're getting a line of, you know,
a hooey, right?
A line of hooey, yes.
A line of hooey, man, a line of hooey. So I'm going to get back to this character so we can move it along a little bit, folks. So the pant legs that you're seeing underneath the cloth there, that is actually cloth. They are from Kit Fisto, as well as the lower piece of plastic that's hanging down with the belt. And then the cloth is actually I actually painted on the cloth that classic VOTC Obi-Wan with the clamshell. Remember that one? And then the upper body is the Obi-Wan again. But if you look at the sleeves there, I actually used the Obi-Wan legs to make the sleeves, right?
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the hands are the classic all the way back to 1996 with the classic Greedo hands, right?
Power of the Force.
Yeah, Power of the Force 2. And I actually, they do articulate, folks. So I actually had to add a peg to the wrist to make this character. And like we said in the beginning, I sculpted the head from scratch using Procreate. So there we go. There's a recipe for Bala Rapal. And I hope you enjoyed that. So I will move it along. And there's a couple more shots. I just thought I put that in there. I didn't accentuate the mohawk as much as I should have. I kind of wish I made it a little bit more raised up, but hopefully at some point maybe I'll make it a little bit more accentuated. But here's that image I was talking about. Is this the last time we see Newt Gunray?
I think it very well could be. I don't remember him really being in it very much longer after that.
So apparently Newt Gunray and Cad Bane are trying to get this deal done, and he keeps saying, "Send the information over to me, and I'll have somebody come get you." And Cad Bane's like, "I'm not falling for that, Viceroy. You can forget it."
Oh, I remember the whole time Nuke Gunray was worried about like, hey, you got to return my ship in good condition.
Yeah,
And he's
right.
like, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. My employer will take care of you. Chill out, man.
Yeah, and what happens to that ship in the end? Uh-oh.
Oh man.
Yeah. So here we have, if you're seeing this image here, I absolutely love Ahsoka in this outfit, this space outfit. It's obviously too cold out, so she needs like an insulated outfit, right? But Anakin just has this same outfit with just a helmet literally over his head. You know, and I captured it right when he's like blinking or something. Look at him; he just looks like he's drunk or something. It's hilarious.
Well, he doesn't have as much skin exposed
Yeah,
in his normal, his normal
yeah, and that's
day-to-day
cool and
work.
everything. It always looked like Darth Vader a little bit. You know, that chest plate
The chest plate, right? Yeah, that was nice the way they incorporated that into his outfit.
was the
I
Darth
like
Vader
that.
thing. When the prequels, before the prequels came out, I've just been doing this a long time. I would draw little sketches and whatnot of what I thought Anakin should look like, and this was similar to what I was hoping he'd look like. And I thought that he should have like little pockets on the front of his belt to to look like the those diodes that he has on his belt as he's Darth Vader, instead of having those boxes or whatever. But here's our dead Bala Rapal. Oh boy, they find him when they finally get on board, and they have some people taken back and whatnot. And if you're seeing that there,
This is the first time I realized that his tongue's hanging out of his mouth.
yeah, isn't that something? And he still has those little handcuffs that are kind of magnetized to that little device that he was being hung over, right?
Yeah.
So here, it's Easter egg time. Every once in a while, folks, we do Easter eggs, and we find little things that connect to other movies, other scenarios, other things that they kind of throw in as fun little ideas, right? What do you see in this? We're looking at Ahsoka, and it's definitely dark in this room, and Ahsoka just decides she's short enough. She's going to go around this little pipe right here, right? But look at poor Rex back there, right? What happens in this episode,
Rex bangs his head on the pipe, which is kind of funny because Rex is really together in like every single scene you'll see him in throughout the Clone Wars. And this is one thing where you see like the super soldier just totally have a like silly moment where he walks right into a pipe. He's like, bonk,
Right. And it's reminiscent to what Star Wars, right? Where the stormtroopers bonk their heads on the door in the Death Star, right?
Yep.
And you gotta wonder, did they really want to connect the clone troopers to the stormtroopers? And are they still using that idea? I don't think they are. How about you?
No, I think, over time they've kind of framed things where stormtroopers were just, your everyday guy you grab off a planet and you kind of graft him into service, and they're not super soldiers. Clones were designed as super soldiers. Like they all have the same genetics. They all came from Jango Fett, who at the time was the greatest bounty hunter. So, you wouldn't have. They aim straight. They hit their targets. Where stormtroopers, we all know their reputation.
Yeah, hopefully that's going to happen in Rebels, with Rex donning his gear again. And we saw, what was that? What was the preview we saw? We saw battle droids, right? That was odd. That was so odd, but I'm excited.
We did see him in the Jabo Hood episode in season 1.
Yeah, battle droids, right. Yeah. So here we have Rex. This is another Rex that I did. You recall how back in the day, they had this really amazing body, and then they changed it. What's that?
Your audio had cut out real quick, so you may want to repeat.
Oh, okay. What I'm showing right now is I'm showing a Captain Rex that I did. This is another custom. I've shown this before. I showed this for the theatrical release and a couple other places. This is the new version of the body. You know, the second version where it doesn't have the joystick on the, you know,
On the
on
upper
the
body,
torso.
like in between
Right.
the stomach and the sternum.
Right. And a lot of
There's
people,
articulation of some figures.
yeah, a lot of people didn't like this body mainly because it lost the joystick. It didn't have articulating wrists. If you notice a little bit, it's hard to tell if you look at like in the on the wrist, in the wrist area. You see how it's like bulging right there a little bit.
Yeah, you swapped it out so they still had the bulging wrist.
Yeah, and I actually gave him articulating feet as well. He didn't have the articulating ankles. I am a firm believer that at least the troops should have like the optimal range of motion. That's my favorite line, folks. I know you've heard me say that before, the range of motion. Don't you agree?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, like when you're posing all your troops and you want to pose them as an army in various different positions. You don't want everybody in the same position, you know, the way those new 5 POA figures do. You know, it just, you want some guys kneeling, you want some guys like, you know, maybe, oh, you know what I love about the Clone Wars action figures? Remember when they came out with those little like cardboard boxes that were full of guns, and you could like stack them up and like
Yep.
build like little embankments for the guys to shoot from behind, and
Yep. Ammo crates.
that was one of the coolest things. Yeah, I love those ammo crates. They were pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm working on making the what is it, the Gregor ammo crate? You know, where he has the armor in it, or Borkus's armor. But that's long down the road, so I have a little bit of time.
You're off to an awesome. You're pretty much there though. I mean, you got it pretty nailed down.
Yeah, but let's get back to this episode before we get off track. So here we finally see Cad Bane, and he is going to take them on. It's just straightforward. Let's fight. Let's rumble. He's got his guys. Anakin and Ahsoka have their troops, and he had all of the controls put into his wrist gauntlets. And what does he do in this moment? Do you remember?
Doesn't he like take off down the hall, and then Ahsoka has to like chase him down?
Well, not yet. When they start the battle, and this is just a custom I did a while back. I just thought I'd show.
Everybody just kind of starts like floating away.
Yeah, what happened was he turned off the gravity. So here we see everybody just floating around, right? And Rex is trying to get them back in order. He's like, "You guys are trained for this." And so they have these magnetic feet where they can kind of float to wherever area they're floating next to, and kind of connect in some way. So you're not looking at an upside down photo. This guy literally landed on the roof or the ceiling of the ship, and he just starts to lay into them. I love it. He just starts walking. Are you seeing this image here?
Oh yeah.
It's so cool because he just starts walking with his gun, and he's walking on the ceiling because they turned off the gravity. And look at this. Here we see Denell, right? Denell. First time we see Denell again, and this time he has his night vision visor on, and that's a new look for Denell, right? We will get to a custom here shortly that you wanted to share, but we won't share it just yet. But it was nice to see that Denell is here again, right?
Oh yeah.
That this clone trooper has made it out, right? Look at that guy in the back, man. He got hit in the face.
Oh yeah, you can see his helmet coming right off.
Oh man, yeah, not a show for kids. or
what
it
are
could
those
be,
people
right?
saying? Just because it's animated does not mean it's a kid show.
Right. Well, I think there was always that idea, and I think this goes with the toys too. And I'm about to like say something that's so um, probably why Hasbro is the way it is today is just because I think Star Wars toys took off with the originals, the original people like you and me. The people that are in their 40s or in their late 30s. They started buying this stuff and they essentially started designing for us. And then they realized we're not designing anything for kids.
You know what though? It was the best-selling action figure line that they had at the time.
Are you talking about Clone Wars or are you talking about
Clone Wars. Yeah, the Clone Wars line was their best-selling action figure line.
Was it really? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we found out, folks, that they made 250 unique characters or more, in that range, that number range for the Clone Wars. Is that nuts or what? That's saying something also about today's day and age. I mean, we're never going to get 250 characters over the course of...
Rebels isn't getting that,
Yeah. Sorry about the rant, folks. We tell it like it is on the show. I guess the artists, the longtime collectors, the people who have been following Hasbro since 1995 or since whenever, since the beginning.
78, yeah.
Well, yeah, I follow Kenner way back. My aunt worked for Kenner, and here's a quick story. I think I've told this before. In 77, when she was working there, we would go over to my aunt's and I'm like, can I play with that little tray that you have over there that it says prototype on it? And inside it was the early bird. It was the early bird. And when I finally got the Luke, I was like, why doesn't my Luke have the longer lightsaber like my aunt's does?
Oh, that's cool.
Oh man, it was so much. It was so crazy. And she told me, you know what she told me? She told me she still has that. And I'm like, you should probably hold on to that. You should probably.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, you should probably hold on to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel like a lot of collectors or a lot of people who tout themselves collectors, right, have been following Hasbro and where are we now? I mean, they say
there's a lot of.
And say that again. You cut out.
Oh no, I think like I've.
Oh boy.
I'll
tell you,
how the toy line's being.
It's like they're hacking you, man. It's like they're hacking you right now. They don't want to hear what you have to say. You got to say it one more time. Are you still there? Still there?
I am still there.
Say it one more time.
There's a lot of anger in the collecting community as far as how the toy line is being handled right now.
Yeah, and we're not going to beat them up. We're not We're going to try to, just like we are trying to reminisce this show. We're trying to celebrate the past. A show that existed at one point in time. We're going to also lift them up. We're going to lift up Hasbro at all the good things that they did do.
The Clone Wars line, the Clone Wars line was perfection. The only bad thing I can say about the Clone Wars line is it ended too early. That's it.
Oh, I agree. And that's why we're doing this. Folks, if you haven't seen the show previous to this one, I have made, for myself, I've made at least 125 unique Clone Wars characters that we will get to over the course of this entire show. And I'm still making more. The Ball of Rapal, that was brand new. I just made that Ball of Rapal last week. And it took a little time. If you're new to customizing, you may... it may take more time than someone like myself. I've been customizing for about 20 years. So I found out with my broken Dremel that did conked out on me last week. It was so sad to see that thing go. I had that thing for so long.
I think you were traumatized about that one.
I was a little bit. I was, because man, when you find the tools that you like, that you enjoy, they go a long way, right?
Yeah, I agree. Very much
All
so.
right. Well, let's get back to it. Here we are in the heat of battle, and I'm going to move it on. This is what you were talking about. Cad Bane finally gets away with the hologron, and we see a reminiscent scene just like Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, even Phantom Menace, where they run into battle, or two people run into battle, and the door closes behind them, right? Somebody gets left behind, and they're like, no, wait a minute, I'll help you. Just wait a second, and we will take them together. But it's too late. Cad Bane gets the best of Ahsoka, and so Ahsoka starts to kick this guy's butt, right? She uses a little kung fu, or what I call Terakasai, or Masters of Terakasai for all you old folks. It's kind of like a fighting game. Maybe that was the style of the Jedi, or a style of fighting, or whatever. But look at this image. Are you seeing this right now?
Oh yeah, it looks like she's about to break his arm.
Exactly. It looks like she broke his arm, right? But it didn't even phase him. He ends up on the ground, and he ends up shocking her. And so what this does is it sends shockwaves through the Force. And I thought this next shot I'm going to show was so very interesting. It seemed almost out of place with the episode, but it was so cool all the same. Because he shocks her and captures her, essentially, she was in danger, right? And Anakin feels it through the Force. And you get this close-up. If you're seeing this image, you just get a close-up of his eye. That's his eye. And then it rumbles in the background, and his eye opens up. It's so cool. And then he uses the Force and kind of, it just moves everything off him, and he's like, Ahsoka's in trouble. I got to go find her. But unfortunately, Cad Bane outsmarts him and says, you have to open this or your Padawan's going to die. So
yeah, I'm going to get her sucked out into space, and that'll be the end of her.
Basically. So he's like, you know what? I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to do it with this guy. This guy means business. And look at that. It's the same exact design as the holocron from Rebels, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Kind of a Rubik's Cube, if you will. Different types of shapes and whatnot that make up the cube and give you different information and whatnot. So here we are at the end, and the ship is going to blow up, by the way. Yularen, you were saying something about Yularen and the cruiser.
Yeah, there's actually a scene that it reminds me of, was it the Executor where the bounty hunters are, where Vader's talking to like Boba Fett and everybody. Right. It has that 2-level look, and it really reminded me of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, you can see the clone officers down in the bottom kind of working, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so here we are at the end, and the ship's going to blow up. Even though Cad Bane got away, once again, we see Ahsoka saying, patience, Anakin, patience. We'll go get him. Don't run after him. Let him get away. And he listens to her, which is just so weird because he's supposed to be the guy saying patience, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then we see Denell, our boy Denell, finally caught up with Cad Bane, right? And look at that. He blew him away. He shot him in the face. Shot Cad Bane in the face.
Well, you assume that.
You assume that, right?
Yeah.
You assume
you definitely have the impression. So are we to assume that a Cad Bane like took out Denal, dressed him up in his clothes, shot him in the face, and then,
pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
I think it was one of those things where it was out of time. Yeah, that was probably exactly what was happening, but they were out of time, and they needed to show you that Cad Bane was offed and everything was okay, but there was that mystery.
Yeah.
Anakin was like, I feel.
It seemed like it was a sealed deal. At the end of the episode, you were like, oh, cool, all right. And, you would have thought that maybe Cad Bane wasn't a big player. You know, that he was like a villain of the week or a villain of the arc type thing.
I immediately thought that. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I thought he was done for sure. And I think it was just a trick of the show, sleight of hand kind of thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So here we are at the end, you know, and they are back on the ship, and Anakin's like, I feel something. Something's odd. And in Denell's armor, we eventually find out that it's Cad Bane, and that's going to lead us into our next episode, which is Children of the Force.
Yep.
And here's our fortune cookie. The first step to correcting a mistake is patience. What do you think about that?
Good advice.
That is good advice. Patience. And they're going to try to fix this. They're going to try to fix this because this guy, they don't know yet, but they're going to know pretty quick that he's getting away. And here's Anakin realizing that there's blood on the ground, and it's alien blood. Look at that weird blood. It looks like toothpaste or something like that.
Or ectoplasm from like Ghostbusters.
Exactly, right? So we find out that Cad Bane is actually in Denell's armor. And you wanted to show your custom. Though this character had already been made, let's see what you got to offer us.
Yeah, I ended up making this figure back before Hasbro had released him.
Of course. I did the same thing with the Bomb Squad, you know, the Bomb Squad clone.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so let's see it.
Okay, I just got to pull it up. Yeah, so I made this. This is probably one of my first customs ever. It was made back in 2010.
Right.
So this custom is about 6 years old. And yeah, it's definitely one of my first ones. I don't even remember what clone I used. I remember I took the Cad Bane head and I ended up cutting the hoses off his face, and he had this weird ridge along the top of his head, so I had to sand that away.
Yeah.
And yeah, after that, it was just a matter of a little bit of paint. I think it was probably a generic clone trooper, but he does have the ball jointed wrists, so it's probably one of the earlier versions of that clone. And then I just picked him up. I ended up grabbing an extra Ahsoka backpack. I think later on I swapped out the backpack so it had that cloth flap around over the back.
Yeah, the lid. Right.
Yeah, but I mean the nice thing was that I got to go over to here. The helmet still fit on over his head and everything. So yeah, it was great to have him for a while. And then they later, ended up releasing him. The thing I liked about Hasbro's version is it had that I guess the gauntlet was removable and you saw like the green blood underneath.
Right.
The only thing that I like better about mine is it's better articulated.
Right. And didn't he come with the holocron, or was that?
He did. He came with the backpack and the holocron.
Man, that is something else. And that was an interesting character at the time because he was supposed to be on a single card. And you remember they put a sticker over him on the back of the card. They changed the whole back of the card with a sticker, with a correction sticker. And you could kind of pull the sticker off and there he was. It was Cad Bane. Single card, it never happened because we got that character in a battle pack, right? That's a really nice custom. Look good.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it wasn't bad for like I said, I was a beginner then. I probably only had a few months of customizing under my belt at that point, but that was like one of the things I was like, I have to make that. That's a cool one to make.
Yeah, you unfortunately can't use the nicer head, the nicer Cad Bane head. It definitely wouldn't fit in a helmet. There's always these compromises you have to take. That head is definitely smaller than what I feel is the more accurate head.
And then Hasbro's version was even smaller than mine.
Right, and even Sideshow, that really expensive doll that they made. Those. I don't collect Sideshow. I'd really like to. It's just too deep pockets for me. But you have to physically remove the head from the body to put the helmet on. It doesn't fit on the head. At least I don't believe it. Like I said, I don't collect it, but I thought that it was more of a swappable type of idea. But we can move on. This is not the Sideshow show. I'm glad that Sideshow does Clone Wars stuff, but I think that's all since ended for sure. Oh boy, yeah. So here's another guy. Check this guy out. I shared him last week. He's a flight crew tech, clone flight tech. The reason I'm showing him is once Cad Bane decks Ahsoka, he also beats up two of these guys, and he jumps in a Victorian fighter and takes off. And Yularen does that whole lock them all down, no, for the hyperspace rings or whatever.
Yep.
And
just a little too late.
Yeah, here we see Anakin knocking the helmet off, and we see Cad Bane without his like little Jedi protectors on his on his cheeks and whatnot. Yep. So he took a hit for sure, but I love this image. He goes right into hyperspace. So cool. All right. So after he's gone, we realize that he has a mission, and he's going to steal children. He's actually stealing the future of the Force. Well, you know what's interesting about this episode that I really like, Children of the Force? It's also like the future of the Force, the episode from Rebels. With Pipey, my Pipey, the Ithorian, and how the Inquisitors want to take the Ithorian baby.
Yeah, this episode they were so similar.
They were so similar. So similar. So. Yeah.
It means that Palpatine really liked that idea, man. He really wanted to drill it home.
Yeah. He even says later on, in this very episode that we're talking about, he talks about how he hopes to see, tons of children trained in the Force, or tons of Sith Lords trained in the Force that are spread across the galaxy, and he certainly gets his wish, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, those chairs are pretty cool. That would be a cool custom to see somebody make.
Actually,
like die around the building, I was just thinking of that.
That
would
sure.
be really easy for someone with 3D printing skills to bang out really quickly.
Yeah, but forget about them sitting cross-legged if they're 5 POA, right?
No, it's true.
Our new stuff can do it for sure. Look at how Yoda's feet are sitting. They're so cool. He is zen. He is zen, isn't he? So they realize they have to go look for him, and the best way to look for him is through the Force. So they hunt him down that way. They send Obi-Wan to Rhodia. They send Anakin to Naboo, and the other guys just sit at the council, right?
Yeah.
All right. So here we have Cad Bane, and you showed this last week, but I wouldn't mind if you showed that custom again of Cad Bane. He had stolen a Jedi robe from a holocron heist. He stole it from the Jedi Temple, and that is how he actually snuck out. And he goes and he finds this first child in the Force, and he poses as a Jedi. And if you have that available, just to show real quick, so we can move on, but I would really like to see it. Oh, there it is. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, all I really did, I sewed the sleeve shut. I turned them inside out, sewed the sleeves shut, cut the sleeves off completely, and I even ended up just sewing it at the front to close it so it could pose better. But cool. It could still slip on and off the body real easily.
Yeah, looks great. Looks great.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That was just another one I did really quick right before an episode. I think I did it an hour before we did last week's episode. So we're always making new things on the fly. So if you think you've seen all our stuff, don't be fooled, because you're going to see new stuff on the show, and there's going to be reveals of action figures, that you haven't seen in our previous body of work.
That's right. It's just a progression of what's going on, right? Yeah, so this gal, she gets hypnotized by Cad Bane with some weird device. You can almost see the galaxy in their eyes. You know, I really like that they did that with the
Right?
Rhodians. You know,
I do
yeah,
too.
for sure. It's so cool, so cool. But here is Obi-Wan. You can see the Jedi Starfighter kind of sticking out there. He's landed at Rhodia, but what's in front of it there? There is the blue plunk droid. Remember a couple episodes back, or this was back when we were still talking about season 1. I had done all 3 of the plunk droids that we see: the green one, the blue one, and the yellow one. And we weren't real sure where we saw the blue plunk droid, and there he is, ready to refuel. I mean, could you imagine you land on a planet, you're totally there to do something totally different, and the gas station rolls up right next to you. Instead of you going to the gas station comes to you. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I thought I'd take this time to show this custom. I actually made this custom, probably around January, February, something like that. Utilizing that that new gonk from the 3-pack. Well, I wouldn't say new, but that really nice, that really nice gonk droid. And what I did is I put 2 of them together and basically glued them right at the center there, and sanded it down so you can't see the seam anymore. And I actually put a little bit of Procreate over it, and you can actually sand that stuff. You can sand green stuff, Procreate. You can even sand Fix-It to some extent. So
I feel like Fix-It sands the best out of the 3.
Yeah, but it's more like stone anyway, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were asking a while back if the lid still came off. Here's a picture of it without the lid.
That's awesome.
Have I ever showed you that?
No, this is the first time I'm seeing it with the lid off.
Yeah, if you look in the center there, you see where my little hand icon is. You can still see the original droid in there. I guess I should have painted it. But yeah, that's basically what it is. It's just 2 gonk droids together, and then of course repaint it. And these little elements you're seeing here, the hose is from Jabba's hookah sticking out there, and I made all those removable. I'm not sure if this one does, because this is the first one I made, but the green one and the yellow one actually remove. And then that little diode, or the dial that he has on the back of him, that's one of those bombs. I just thought it was fun to like put that on there as an extra kind of deal. And here he is. There he is from the back, ready to refuel your starship. Pretty cool, huh?
Oh, I'm loving it.
Yeah. And I just I made up this name. I'm not sure if that's the actual name. Obviously what you're seeing here, it's plunk droid, so that's why you get the P, and then it says BLU. That stands for blue. So I have the P dash GRE or GRN, and then the yellow one is PYLO. You get it?
Oh yeah.
I'm so silly. But I try to make my customs as bright as possible. So that's what you're seeing here. Especially the Clone Wars. I thought it was so bright. Didn't you?
Oh yeah, I love the way they used the color and lighting in Clone Wars.
Right.
It was really very well done. Very well done.
What do you think of this image here? Let's start with the. So this is Obi-Wan running to this Rhodian's house, and he's trying to catch Cad Bane before he takes off, right, with the child. Real quick, in the far right, you see the silver droid. Is that a decal on the droid, or is that more silver? What do you think? You think it's just silver and the plants are reflecting off of him?
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reflect. There was a lot. Clone Wars was famous for having a lot of reflections.
Yeah.
And,
do Yeah, I agree. I think it's silver. I was talking with a friend of ours, and he was saying, "Oh, I'd really like to have a paint job of that." And I was like, "Well, it really just looks like it's silver." You
Yeah,
know,
I think the same. I think you're right.
I was like,
I
I
think,
can do you a silver paint job for sure, but I think it's just silver.
yep.
But yeah, so what do you think of that droid in the center? I actually did that version. I don't have it all done yet, folks. So I will show it in a later episode. Do you recall offhand what its name is? What the droid's name
No,
is?
no, yeah, I have no
Yeah,
idea.
it has a really long one, doesn't it? A really long series of numbers, right? And that's Plo Koon's droid in front there.
Yep.
What's he doing there?
Man, that was one of my favorite droids that they put out too, because he was build a droid, and like when it comes to customizing Clone Wars Astromechs,
Yeah.
he's my favorite one to use.
And what you were saying earlier too, just how amazing the collection was. They even brought the Build-A-Droid aspect into the Clone Wars, and unfortunately, it was very difficult to get that droid.
Yeah.
Oh
Tom
man,
Hori had them for a while, and I tried to buy as many as I could at the time, but
I bought them all out from under
I
you,
wish
man.
I bought 100 of those.
I bought as many as I could, man. I
Yeah.
bought as many as I could. We definitely get our fodder from a guy overseas who's still selling this stuff. It's great. It has become our go-to spot, hasn't it?
Oh yeah. I'm almost afraid to share a source because
Yeah, yeah.
um
Let's not. Let's just let's keep the let's keep it safe.
he's
Yeah,
he's pretty popular though. I think a lot of people have heard of him,
yeah.
and
I think a
I
lot of
think the
people.
cat's out of the bag on that one.
The cat is out of the bag. We thought we lost him at one point, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Thankfully, he was
Yeah.
only taking vacation for the
Just
training.
on vacation, right?
Yeah, but we
It's
were
like,
like, oh no,
yeah,
what are we gonna do?
yeah.
Customizing's over.
Customizing over. It is over essentially.
It has
Man,
been for a long
not
time.
yeah, not to go into the rant again, but they have certainly. Man, I'll tell you, in 2013, 2014, they did their part at finding some kind of way to destroy customizing, destroy
And
collecting.
it was really at a point where it was hitting a boom. I mean, I remember you'd go to like some forums and you'd post something, and 2 hours later you were already on the second page because there were so many people posting on a Saturday or a Sunday
Yeah,
that you were just buried
yeah,
within like a
customizing
few
for sure.
hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, customizing, and that's just it. I think maybe we may share different opinions from time to time. Both me and my co-host here, we don't always share the same ideals, but I agree. Customizing was just rocking, and I think they definitely. What I was saying was the whole 6-inch idea, where they moved it to 6-inch, the distribution and whatnot. They certainly have made it harder for us to get what we need, right?
Parts.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Um,
Yeah, now you go
it's
to
just a
forums.
shame.
It's a ghost town. You're lucky if you get like 2 or 3 people posting a week. It's
Yeah,
just it really has dried up.
yeah. Start customizing, people. I definitely think it's from the scarceness of toys.
Oh
Just
yeah, if you have no parts, how are you going to do it? You can't
exactly.
really customize with 5 POA, and if that's all you're finding on the pegs,
Yeah.
you know.
If you ever bought a commission from me, I do commissions for customizing. I often ask people to help me find the parts. I don't think that's truly unreasonable.
No,
Um,
not with the cost of parts these days. I mean,
yeah,
if you buy something for a client and then they back out, you could really be on the hook for like a lot of money.
that's
Sometimes
true.
just one figure, especially like a Clone Wars figure, they're starting to go for $40 a piece.
Oh
I'm
boy.
just thankful that we like stockpiled the way that we did,
Yeah,
years ago, and we still have some of that to work with.
I
Because
agree.
if we hadn't, you know, we'd be really, we'd be priced out
That's true.
of our own art form.
That's true. Look at that body that we use for Krell. Oh man.
Oh yeah,
Forget
that
about
goes
it.
for a ridiculous amount of money
At
now.
least $50 to $80, right, for that 2-pack.
Yeah, just for the base figure, and
Yeah.
you know.
And we'll go into that more down the road with the Palm Krell. Like, that's just an example of some of the characters that are on their way. I mean, we've seen Zero so far, the big ones, what we call the big ones. We've seen Zero come through, and hopefully we'll get to some more of the more prominent, bigger ones, but we got just a bunch of characters coming your way. So let's finish this episode up. Are you seeing this picture I'm showing here?
Oh yeah.
So look at that. He's wearing that same pilot helmet that Django essentially was wearing. You know, that would be an easy custom, because
Yeah.
I know there's people that have extra of that part. You know, that headgear.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah. So
I don't have a lot of parts of Django. That's a, you know.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Django's, but I only have like one version of each version they put out.
Right.
And yeah, it's unfortunate.
Look at this. Look at this. Obi-Wan's like throwing his fist up. Darn you, Cad Bane. Darn you. And he's getting away, right? He got away from Obi-Wan. Here's my Obi-Wan. I've showed this before. I showed this in season 1.
Season 1.
Yeah, and I just added a little bit more articulation to the character, but mainly I added a new head. that first head that they did, it just really wasn't right, was it?
Too much hair, too much beard, too much.
Just a melon head, you know, just kind of he had just this huge head, and this was the space suit head of Obi-Wan, and it just looked incredible, I think. Are you still seeing it? No, it looks like it went down for a moment. Sorry about that, folks. Let me see if I can jump back to it here. Let me see. All right. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. Are you seeing it?
Oh yeah, yeah, we're good.
All right. So Anakin and Ahsoka, they go to where do they go? They go to Naboo. Check out that Gungan. Who said Gungans are not cool, man? I totally want to make that guy.
Yeah, he looks good.
God, Lunker, Captain Lunker. Man, he is just cool. I think if Jar Jar looked like him, maybe he wouldn't have got so much hell, right?
I didn't even realize Typho was in this episode.
Yeah, Typho was there. We did a Typho too, didn't we? We don't need to
show mine real fast. I mean,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
On the Superfly.
On the Superfly. Yeah, we try to get through them, folks. While he's pulling that up, you know, we just we do anywhere from a half hour to an hour and a half. You know, we try not to go over an hour and a half. But
yeah,
here's his picture.
Yep.
You want to talk?
Yeah, it's basically you just take that Anakin that came with the Naboo fighter. It was like one of the mini rigs. I took the head off of one of the, I think it was that, what was that, the Blue Saga collection for Attack of the Clones? Is that what they called it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just took the head from there, cut it off, and popped it on the head. You know, drilled a hole in the bottom. I might have used a little bit of the glue gun because it doesn't actually adhere, but it's more like a filler to fill in space. And that was it. I gave him the same gun. I kept that helmet because it's always good to have accessories for a figure, and that was it.
Nice.
Short and sweet, very easy.
Short and sweet. I like it.
Make it in less than 5 minutes.
Very good. That was the Anakin from the Naboo pack with the mini rig, right? The Anakin body.
Exactly.
And we're gonna talk about that episode soon. It's in this season 2, and that's coming up real quick. Senate Spy, where Anakin dresses up as a Naboo pilot. So here we are back at this at this Naboo place, this Gungan place, and Cad Bane tries to steal another kid, and underneath the blanket he finds what? He finds a Tuca doll.
Man, those
Another.
must have been like the Cabbage Patch dolls
They were
of
the
the
Cabbage
Star Wars
Patch
galaxy because they were on
of the time,
Rhodia, they
right?
were on with Ryloth. You
Yeah.
know, they got around.
Yeah, somebody, Hasbro, Mattel, somebody could make this Tuca doll and just make a bunch of money.
Oh yeah, you look at how those Loth Cats did at Star Wars Celebration,
Oh man,
and that's another potential moneymaker right there.
yep, I want one of those. You know, I even made one. And we'll see that later on too. I made a not a loaf cap, but a Tuca. They're called Tucas in the Clone Wars. They probably just vary in name by name in different areas of the galaxy. So here we see, this is a funny image. I thought I'd show this. This is Ahsoka saying, hey, you can't have my Jedi braid anymore. So she steals it back from Cad Bane and she puts it
Yeah,
in her.
because he's in handcuffs at this point, isn't he?
Right, he's captured. He's captured. And here is my Ahsoka. I've showed this several times. This is just straight up a repaint. I just felt that she didn't have the paint job that I preferred, and I gave her a new one. I would like to go back in and articulate her arms at some point, you know, at the elbows.
Yeah.
Just make her super nice, but I have to show this picture real quick. I don't know if you know what's going on here. This is what I was referring to early in the episode where Cad Bane was like, his voice changes all the time. And this is back to his real harmonic, you know, harmonic voice, you know, where it's very auto-tuned, you know. And it's almost startling at this moment. She goes to the mother of the child there, the baby Gungan, which in many ways looks kind of ridiculous. I think that baby Gungan looks just totally weird.
Yeah, it is a lot.
But she reassures them that everything's going to be fine. Your child is safe. And then really, really abruptly, he goes, do you really believe that? It's scary. It made me jump out of my seat when he said that. I was just like, oh my God. It was just scary, you know. I mean, I didn't even get to the range that he went to, but oh man, it was really scary. So they capture him. They do this terrible thing on him, and I'm just surprised that Ahsoka just being so calm at watching these people torture this guy's mind. Here comes their overconfidence, right? Oh boy. So they use the Force on him, and he basically says, I'll take you to your holocron and the children. And this image I wanted to talk about really fast was a moment where we see Anakin and Palpatine. And back in season 1, at the season finale, I had asked you a question. What do you think if Palpatine knew that Cad Bane was stealing or rescuing Zero? And I don't think he did, in my opinion. I think he saw this and he went, oh wow, I'm going to use this bounty hunter because he's very effective. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's how Bane got on his radar.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So here we are. We actually go to Mustafar. That's so cool. I was blown away by, here we are in season 2, and we go to Mustafar, linking even closer to episode 3, which we unfortunately did not receive because they had to cancel the Clone Wars. But wouldn't this have been just an amazing set? The droid with the hologram of the Grim Reaper. Look at that. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, he does look like the Grim Reaper.
He looks like one of those, what is the Dementor from Harry Potter?
Yep.
Or the Grim Reaper, yeah.
Very much. Yeah.
Oh man, I love that shot. And this is where we were talking about earlier, where he foresaw children trained in the dark side of the Force doing his bidding across the galaxy. So he realizes that Anakin has shown up. I guess he can use the Force and somehow feel that that this location is compromised. So he bails out. You know, the hologram turns off, and he tells the robots, these really awesome robots, to take the children to a secondary facility, which I'm guessing is the one that's in episode 3, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so.
You know, where Anakin and Obi-Wan have their very long and drawn out duel. I think that could have been shorter, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was because they were trying to chop back and forth between the Yoda Palpatine fight and the Obi-Wan and the Anakin fight that ended up making it why it was long as it was.
Yeah.
Because they had to do all the, those Senate pods, like, they had a lot to work through as far as, the Yoda and Palpatine fight.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, so here we have Anakin and Ahsoka, and they have the kids, and they have succeeded in getting them. And they did actually get the holocron back, by the way. I did not mention that portion where Obi-Wan and Mace Windu went with Cad Bane, and that's how Cad Bane actually got away. If I didn't say that earlier, I apologize. But he did eventually get away. So even though this ends the arc, we will see Cad Bane again. So here they are at the council, and there's just a few of them there because they're probably all out on missions and whatnot. So they realize Cad Bane's got away, but all is well in the galaxy once again. And there was the episode. So what do you think?
I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
I like this arc. This is one I enjoyed very much.
Yeah, for sure. Those were all fun. Those were fun. It was a good opener. Next week we will be going into what is the episode next week?
Yeah, I didn't even look.
Is it Senate Spy? Oh boy,
it could be.
Where is? Sorry about that, folks. We will certainly be back next week with a new episode. And that was just fun. It was great being here with you guys. I just want to give a couple shout outs. Darth Spice, man, thank you for putting us.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Page, man, appreciate it so much.
And definitely to Tamer of Imperial Shipyards. He's been putting
absolutely. Them all. Yes, Tamer is our man, right? He is a custom curator like yourself. He just follows customizers, shows the world what talent is out there, right? There are so many talented people out there, and just want to give you guys just a great bit of thanks, for just really putting us on your pages. We really, really appreciate that. We're just simple guys just doing this. We just want to show our art. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, me and Brian, we'll just call each other on the weekends. What'd you think of that Clone Wars episode? That was cool, wasn't it? Right? I tout myself the biggest adult Clone Wars fan. I swear. Up and down that I'm the biggest Clone Wars fan, but then you go, nope, I'm the biggest Clone Wars fan. We have little fights, don't we?
And I did check. It is Senate Spy next week. Yes.
So that is going to be an interesting one because it has a really neat character, a very pivotal character in Rush Clovis.
Yep.
And he's definitely an interesting one because he's that kind of that other man in Padme's life, right?
Oh yeah, he does. This isn't the only episode we're going to see him in. This is going to be our introduction to him. But as for people who have watched the show as seasons go on, especially toward he even made it down to the final episodes that within the final episodes that were received from the Clone Wars, and you do realize that he did play a big part in the Padme and Anakin story.
He did. He made he made Anakin more interesting, I think.
Oh yeah,
I really
very
do.
much so.
I really do. Well,
Yeah.
we will get into that next week, or yeah, next weekend. We'll get into that, and we will certainly have more customs to show, more tips and recipes and whatnot. And please keep giving us feedbacks, keep giving us those likes. You know, we're going to be talking about this.
I really appreciate all the positive feedback we've been getting this week.
Unbelievable, awesome.
Yeah, there was like a boom. It was so funny. We didn't really hear much first season, and now second season, like we're getting a lot of really nice compliments, and I can't thank you guys enough for that.
Yeah, we're kind of doing this kind of timeless, if you will, folks. We will talk about news here and there. You'll hear us talk about Rebels and what's going on in the day. It is 2016 and Rogue One's coming up and everything, but everybody else does such great jobs doing news and whatnot. We're going to focus on what we feel is our strength, if you will. So we're going to be doing customs. We're going to be talking about the Clone Wars, a show that aired from 2008 to about 2013. So if you absolutely haven't seen the show, you're absolutely new to the Clone Wars, turn this off. Turn this off right now.
No, don't turn it off. Like, let's just hope that this encourages you to, don't take our words for anything. Just go there and watch it yourself.
Yeah, it's our perspective. We're having fun with it. We're just playing around with it. We want to show our customs. We want to show all the different types of things that Hasbro could have done. Not to say that they're bad or anything. It's just that we've taken this opportunity to make more toys, and so many other people have as well. We're going to be giving shout outs as well. So with that, thank you for joining us. You can find me on Facebook at Peak Obi-Wan Custom Creations. You can also find me on Clone Wars Custom Action Figures. And guess what? I am on Instagram now. So I only have a few photos up, but I'm going to try to get as many photos as I can in the Instagram way, a little bit clearer, a little bit more awesome. So if you want to find me there, you can find me as at Peak Obi-Wan Custom Figures. That's what it is. So where can we find you, man?
I would tell everybody, just go to my blog, www.customsforthekid.blogspot.com. I also have content available on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram, Google+, Pinterest. But like I said, blog's the best place to go. Last week, I just did a quick video tutorial on how to use my blog. I've had people say in the past that like some of the features they didn't really know how to access. So I just did a quick tutorial. It's going to be in the sidebar right on the right underneath the action figure index. And yeah, you could just play it and it'll give you like a roundabout way, just tell you where to get the most out of your experience there. And yeah, that's it. Until next time, may the force be with you.
Take care.